What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer, playing some Monarchies, as I like to call them, or Monarchs and Floowandereeze. This is a deck that I've wanted to check out for a long time. You guys know about my Slifer, one that I made a while ago, but I thought, what if we, really try to get into this? What if we try to make it good? And, you know me, I can't do anything normal. First, I have to run weird tech cards and all that kind of stuff to try to do some other things, and I've done that. So, a really interesting thing about this card, and I knew that it said this, but I wanted to make sure, and it's true. This card activates when you tribute summon a monster. It doesn't have to be anything else. It can literally just be random, right? Which is really, really cool. Meaning that you get to add these monarchs to your hand, and then Empin, if you don't know, also a generic normal summon. All the other ones special summon a winged beast monster from your hand, but not Empin. That one says you just get a free normal summon at the end. And you also have one more tech card that I think you will see in this duel. I haven't perfected using it yet, but the potential is so strong. And there's also a really insane combo that I'll talk about in just a moment here. I probably should have shot this Ancient Cloak back to his hand. That was a mistake by me, whatever. Okay, so we're going to normal summon the Eaglin. He goes to negate the effect of the Mega Monarch. I don't know why. I'll use it. And here we go. So this card is very, very, very interesting. So you get to shuffle cards from your field. It feels from your hand. Also, and there's also one other thing. So some versions of this card say you can't target itself, and some say you can, which is random. And you would think, why not just tribute these extra Floowandereeze cards? But if you would tribute them, they'd actually be banished instead of going into the deck, so they don't count towards the number that you can shuffle. But you do play a ton of spells and traps, and also being able to throw Empin back in the deck can be huge, all those kinds of things. But if you have Dimension Shifter in your opening and you go through your combos, so instead of discarding 300 cards, which could be good for your opponent depending on the deck, it won't be good for them, because unless you're playing literally Thunder exactly, you could be banishing 3 cards because you activate Dimension Shifter the first thing you do during your turn. You set up your plays with Empin, and then during the standby phase of your opponent's turn, you go through the whole combo of normal summoning a bunch of cards, shuffle 3 of them back into your deck, and then boom, hand rip 3. And as you saw during that first combo, I grabbed the Monarch that lets you, Foolish Burial the spells and traps, which is cool and all. But you don't have to do that. There's another Monarch that's a fire that you get to look at your opponent's hand. So if you activate D-Shifter, you're potentially hand rip banishing 4 from your opponent's hand, which I think is pretty neat. The ratios are a little, sus right now. I'm definitely trying to figure this out, but personally I like this a lot, and I really like this Immortal Werachoka Raska. It's a really interesting card. It's searchable through the deck, obviously. And it's, it's win normal summon, so you're obviously going to be able to do that during your opponent's turn. Okay, here comes the Eaglin. Here comes the Mega Monarch, which is obviously pretty good. So it all kind of works out. And everything, again, like I just talked about, you can grab what you want during your turn. So, if you open standard stuff, then you can just go into Empin plus Barrier Statue, which is what most people do. Or you actually might be able to go to Apex Avion plus Barrier Statue, which is really neat too. So it's just kind of okay, this is what I have in my opening, we'll go from there. This is random, so looks like we're playing against Evil Twin. This card is really good. Floowandereeze and the Unexplored Winds, it's just super, super sick. I think there's going to be more, so we have the Draw 2 card that's coming out for Floowandereeze. You can control 2 Winged Beast monsters, can't control their types. Free draw 2, and I think you pay 600 life points or something, nothing. So that's definitely going to help the consistency of this deck a lot. And then yeah, I think everything else is pretty good. So I've actually the one thing I feel pretty confident about is that I only run one of the field spell, because the quick play searches the field spell, and it's also just better because it helps negate those infinite impermanences and effect failures. I target the Stritch, which is stupid because obviously that's not going to count. So you guys saw that, and then he can't special summon, so that's pretty rough, and that's the end of the duel there. So that's pretty cool. So that card, you're seeing the application of it, and tomorrow's probably just going to be more gameplay of this, but me being significantly better at it. I just kind of wanted to show this off so you guys could see what's going on. This is a really, really good opening. Of course, it's very simple, but it does work out in my favor. Drawing 2 of your big boys really sucks. But what are you going to do? Technically, with the M pin, I could search the one that shuffles 2 back to draw 2. But, you know, being able to go through that loop during your opponent's turn is just a little too important. So, yeah, I was able to look through his, he's, like, obviously locked out of the extra deck, which is not good for him. I probably just try to go into Barrier Statue, although I'm not exactly sure. I go for Apex Avian. Not the worst thing in the world. It's going to trigger Return of the Monarchs once again to be able to search pretty much what the last thing is. So you're just constantly plussing really good, so your top decks are usually going to be pretty beneficial to you, whatever the other cards in your deck left are. Okay, so I'm not going to let Dark Magical Circle go through, of course. Here comes a Magician's Souls. He goes to replace that. Okay. And, okay, I got Cosmic Cyclone off the top. Normally it'd be pretty good against Dark Magicians, but clearly I'm quite ahead in card advantage here. Okay, so the Mega Monarch can come out. I think I'm going to try to stack on top of his deck, you know, the Dark Magician, although I didn't. You have to tribute a wind monster and able to get 2 targets, so that was a misplay by me. I wanted him to top deck, basically, Dark Magician, which would have been really nice. He top decks Magician Rod instead, so obviously my mistake is just really staring me in the face. But what are you going to do? This deck is so interesting. It's like a combo normal summon deck, because if they stop one of yours, like, then your plays are pretty done. This deck is so on the fence. All right, I'm pretty sure this lets you special summon like a Blackluster Soldier or a Chaos Soldier from the deck. So I don't want to. Oh, from the hand. I don't want to let him do that. Plus, I'm going to be able to normal summon the quadrillion times this turn too. So yeah. Sometimes you want to banish your own cards, like constantly you do, more than anything, because that lets you like go back into your plays, which is super important, right? And I'm going to get rid of the last 2 cards he has in hand, because pretty sure I know one of them is Dark Magical Circle, which you hate to see that. And Erebus can add itself. I can shuffle back again. It all just kind of works out here. I should have activated this, actually, I think, during the... I won the duel, but... yeah. I could activate this before to tribute one of his cards, but I didn't. There's actually a lot of really small interactions with this deck that you may not realize that until you play it. So if I see some of those, like I'm still pretty new to the deck, I will point those out. Like I said, tomorrow is probably going to be another one of these gameplay videos, but me being like, hey, this is actually how you be good at this deck. Looks like I'm playing Danger. This is like a pure Danger deck. And I thought I'd take the opportunity to look at someone, like one of the only person I've ever seen who plays something like this. You draw through your entire deck, and I'm not really sure what the point is. Like, what's the... Oh, okay, so I guess number 100 is like one of your win conditions. It's like a rank 8 deck. It's kind of sussy. Okay, I'll activate this. That's fine. So clearly I'm not going to be going into the Immortal combo. Or if I do, it's a big mistake. Alright, so he's going to pop my set, but that's alright, because I guess it just proctors it out a little earlier. Hopefully I go into Apex Avian. That would be the smart thing to do. Yes, it is. So I'm getting there. Normally I would search out Immortal, but you don't always have to use Immortal. Like in my mind, I'm like, I have to use this card as quick as possible, but you actually don't, obviously. It's really good for when simplified game states. If you know what your opponent's playing too, it can be pretty sick. You haven't seen D-Shifter yet, but of course that is the powerhouse card of the deck. And if you know you're going first, like I've orientated this deck to have more cards on my side to help me like just guarantee my win. Like Dimensional Barrier, Macro, just banishing, you know, Blind Banishment is obviously good against 90% of decks. Like Drytron, could you imagine? Invocation or like Invoke decks is really good. So many cards need to send themselves to the graveyard, like Droll especially. Like that Dimensional Shifter protects you from Droll, I'm pretty sure, because it can't get sent to the graveyard, and that's what it says specifically. Like Ash is good because that just says discard. Obviously Infinite Impermanence is good. All like very good cards against this deck, but yeah. Okay, so I have a lot of cards in my hand, of course. Okay, so he goes to, you know, get rid of like what, 6 cards in my hand. I draw 6 fresh cards. But yeah, you run so many duplicates of everything that you're pretty good. Especially if you can get something, you know, well, I guess maybe my Toucans in the graveyard. I only run 1 Toucs, which is a little tough, but he doesn't have any life points. Like it's just it's not going anywhere. Just a couple more duels. I think this one is. This is where I almost. If he top. Yeah, I think he top decks it too. This is like the craziest top deck that I have ever seen. So this is what I consider full combo, right? Where I'm going to be, getting rid of. Well, it's not technically not full combo because if I had the Monarch spell, then I'd be able to do a lot more damage. But yeah, so I'm going to be able to tribute summon during his turn, be able to tribute one of his cards too. This card is nuts, and tributing using a card doesn't have to be a monster. So, and I'm going to be able to get rid of this. Like, and you wouldn't even be able to activate infinite impermanence. Like, this is so sickening. Because here we go. I'm going to be able to go through this. Honestly, I probably should have just tribute these anyways, but I wanted to get this off the field. Yeah, it would have been 3 randos, 3 banished cards out of his hand, which would have been a Conch, an Ecclesia, and a Nadir Servant. It would have been absolutely amazing. He surrendered, but I wanted to show that to you to be like, wow, look how close I was to achieving this crazy combo. Okay, and it had to be the top 2 because obviously he would have activated Infinite Impermanence during that turn. Yeah. This is the combo about as simple as it gets. If you already have Eagle in your opening plus Rabina, you're just overextending. You're going to be able to go into Storm after this. So he can't Kaiju my monster, which is a nice thing at the current moment. You're running the Floowandereeze and the Monarch stuff, which is pretty nice. Okay, so maybe I'll go for Immortal because I have so many like extra cards here. Actually, yeah, it's a really good idea. So like I can go for these two. I feel like I should be able to target myself. Again, if you look at the most recent card text, it doesn't say that you can't target yourself. I get rid of Super Poly. Obviously, I should have gone for Apex Avian. Like, if you're blind doing it, like, I don't know. Unless you have Dimension Shifter, like I've been talking about, you want to play it safer. Just go for the Omni Negate. Because if you might be discard, I don't know. This guy's playing, like, a whole discard deck for zombie monsters. I banish that, add it back to my hand so I can normal summon again during his turn, which is obviously a very good thing. All right, Empin. I have so many monsters on the field. I probably will go for another normal summon. Yep, and I'll look at his hand. And I can discard one of these. Like, I think this is a pretty good one. Like, has a good on-field effect. Forbidden Droplets. I may end up taking this out of the deck. I just kind of fitted it everywhere, I suppose. But, you want to be able to go second, obviously. It's all about finding that balance. Alright, he's going to normal summon the Zombie Master. I will go ahead and go through my loop once again, adding all these banished ones back to my hand. All 3 of them, so I'm going to be able to normal summon a lot, although I don't even have that much space left on the board. And he just ends up surrendering because, yeah, I'll probably go into the Mega Monarch, shuffle, put one in the deck, add one back to his hand or something like that, all that good stuff, which is pretty nice. So, yes, that is Monarcheeze. That is the first showing of the deck that I have on the channel. More to come, and there's a lot more I'm doing this week. I've just had a very strange schedule with work, so be sure to look out for a bunch of videos that come out soon. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.